me and Freddie had to move Airbnbs in Melbourne at the comedy festival.
Yeah.
Like 3 days in because we didn't book early enough. We couldn't get one for the whole time.
Okay.
And Freddie had a radio interview scheduled for like 12 p.m, but we had to check out at 10 and we couldn't check in till the next one till 3.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just at this bus stop in Melbourne, like on the phone to freaking 3RRR FM or whatever, talking about like, how did you get into comedy? He's literally sitting at a bus stop with his suitcase. It's like, get into comedy. It's like, I'd love to be in comedy, you know?
I'm waiting for the bus to take me there right now.
Yeah.
I can't get into my Airbnb, let alone comedy.
Oh, God, yeah.
With a briefcase, though. Who travels with a briefcase?
You meant suitcase, I'm guessing.
A briefcase. So he's British, so it could have been a briefcase. That's how these guys.
Was his briefcase on a table in a meeting? There's just underwear?
Yeah.
And his toiletries?
He folds his T-shirts away like they're files, you know? It's all business with the palms.
Sorry, let me just check the manila folder. Underwear, T-shirts, pants. Got it. All right.
Yeah.
See you later.
But I tell you, what about when you go on these radio shows and you're trying to be funny? I don't know about you guys, but
Are you trying to be funny up there?
I'm trying to be funny.
I'm not. I'm just trying to tell people the time and who sung the last song.
Yeah, well...
You're doing their job for them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm telling them my vote's for the hottest 100, and I'm trying to be funny while doing so, but...
I'm just trying to guess the secret sound.
Yeah.
Play it again. Play it one more time.
Just start naming sounds. Door opening. Paperclip being dropped.
Yeah.
Is this good? Am I in? Do I get the money? Sorry, Billy. You were trying to tell an anecdote and we derailed you.
No.
Hey, just to clarify, we are podcasting currently.
I love the chaotic energy of the cabin. It's my first time. It's a lock-in.
That was one of the phrases we asked Billy to use on this podcast. Could you say it sometimes? You like the chaotic energy of the cabin?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, when you go on these radio shows and it's like a 3-minute interview or whatever, and the guy's like, so how did you get into stand-up? And it's like, mate, come on. Anything else? Do you have a good answer to that question?
No.
I don't.
I wish I did.
I do not. I literally was so hungover on Saturday, woke up at like 1 p.m, was just stale as, and had a date at 5. And I get in the shower, I have a beer, and I get to the date, and I'm sitting there.
Do you have the beer in the shower?
Yeah, good clarification.
I have the beer, then I have the shower, then I get to the date, and I'm sitting there. I get a good table at the clock, my go-to first date spot on the balcony, and I'm there. I'm bruised and I'm battered, but I'm there in good faith. And like 2 minutes in, she goes, so how did you get into stand-up comedy? And it was just like, oh, God. Like, I just don't have the emotional capacity. Like, I don't have a good answer for that question. I tried it once.
I don't want to dox you here, but I thought you did a comedy course. Did you do a comedy course?
I did do a comedy course.
Is that how you got in, or was that after you did the gig? And then you were like, I should probably figure out how to do this.
Well, I did a comedy course when I was 18 and did one gig. And then I tried it again when I was 20.
Right.
Yeah.
So you took a little gap year.
I took a couple of gap years because the first time I tried stand-up, I didn't want to like do it as a career. I just wanted to try it. But you see what's happening right now, Daniel Muggleton? Do you want to fuck me after this conversation? Because I'm not feeling much of a vibe.
Well, it depends on what the answer is.
Well,
if
that's
you've got a
my
compelling
answer.
story, I'll jerk you off.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, I think. That's my answer. And the cunts on Triple M aren't giving me much to work with when I send that down the phone. Do you guys have a better answer? Because I need a good answer because I'm single.
You telling me like MG isn't excited by the fact you did a course, tried it, and then waited and did it again?
No.
Oh my God, what about Big Dell? Was he into it? What about Jude?
The best base for breakfast radio is to be an elite professional sportsman. This is the funniest thing in the world to me, that Nick Cody is on Breakfast Melbourne Radio, stand-up comedian, presenter, Nick Cody, and he's the third mic, and Brendan Favola's the second.
So, Fev, how'd you get into AFL?
Well, I cooked a footy once. Then I did a footy kicking course and decided I liked it and did it again.
You know, someone like Brendan Favola has a gift from God because he tried so hard to not be good at AFL and still was so good at it.
What you mean, like how he was just not that committed?
Not in shape,
Yeah.
drinking, like not even trying his best, and was still so good.
But like with those athletes, right? Because I know exactly what you're talking about. Don't you reckon sometimes is the fact they don't care, which is why they can be so clear on the field. They're not super nervous. Like they're not overthinking it. You know, like they're just kind of instinct because they don't have anything else.
Yes, it's a bit of like, it's like that, isn't it? It's like how the girl you don't like always likes you.
What, because you are a different person around her than a girl you're trying to impress?
Yeah, because you don't care.
Yeah.
All right. This is going to be a point lost on Tom because he doesn't like any women.
I like my wife most of the time.
But I'm saying, like, Brendan Favola, he's not that into AFL. Which
But
is
AFL loves him.
AFL loves him. Whereas these kids that are up at 4 a.m. kicking a footy, too keen.
Yeah.
Well,
Too keen.
This is my favorite thing about Nick Kyrgios because the tennis establishment hates Nick Kyrgios because they love tennis and he hates tennis, but he's good at tennis and they're not.
Yes.
It must be excruciating.
But how good is Kyrgios at basketball? Because by all reports, that's what he wants to do, right?
Not good enough,
Not good enough
clearly.
because he wants it too bad.
Yeah.
I think he just wants to run a Culture Kings franchise.
I mean, we all want to run a Culture Kings franchise.
Hey, I want a clothing store where it's too loud to decide what you want to buy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am
Sorry,
looking...
strobe effects. There's a warning at the door of Culture Kings.
Do you ever think Boost Juice isn't loud enough? Welcome to Culture Kings.
Well, sometimes I want to get some new shoes and a shirt, but I also need a sick fade, and I don't have the time for both. Enter Culture Kings. But Nick Kyrgios, he's the king. He's the king. You know, no pun intended. King Kyrgios. He's got the best deal in the world because everyone agrees that he's the most talented player on the planet. And if he tried, he would be so good. And he refuses to try.
But I reckon you're right. I think if he tried, he actually maybe wouldn't be that good.
No, he wouldn't be.
Like it was kind of
If he tried, I think he would get to like 8 in the world. But he wouldn't. This idea that he would be like the next Federer or whatever. But the best thing is, he's always got up his sleeve that he wasn't trying.
yeah.
Imagine you come off your Sydney Comedy Festival show and everyone's like, "Oh, it wasn't really that good, mate." But you go, "Oh, I wasn't trying," and everyone's like, "Awesome, man! I can't imagine what that would have looked like had you tried your best."
But no one's impressed if Dan Muggleton comes off stage and people are like, I hear he didn't even warm up before that set.
Yeah.
I hear he was just playing Fortnite all morning.
I heard he's just got his girlfriend out the back there, like no real coaches.
Is not stretching, that weird liquid he's drinking in between jokes. That's actually not like electrolytes. That's just a beer. It's no good.
Like in the middle of your set, like Kyrgios at Wimbledon, you start yelling at your family when it's going poorly.
Yes.
How did you let this happen?
Your dad also has no eyebrows.
But do you reckon Kyrgios asked him to shave him off? He's like, otherwise I can tell how you feel about the point. Lose the eyebrows.
Yes.
It's too obvious.
I love tennis players. I mean, Kyrgios, I don't know. I'm not a massive tennis guy, so I don't really understand the complexities of Nick Kyrgios. Like, I just think he's a flog.
But how dare you?
But I think that's not a very nuanced...
That's our word on this podcast.
Well, I'm in the cabin and I'm using it freely,
It's a compliment in this cabin.
Yeah.
It's true.
I've got the pass.
You got your flog pass?
Got the flog pass.
That's
tap
good.
on. And, but I think just stating that Kyrgios is a flog is not a very nuanced take because some tennis people love him.
Most tennis people seem to like it. Most.
You know he's a commentator now and
Yeah.
people love his insights,
Yeah.
which I hate. I don't think you should be able to be a commentator like before your career's over.
I agree with that. I think that's double dipping.
I don't like this thing when Nick Kyrgios, and David Warner's a bit like this in the cricket, when Nick Kyrgios is saying what's the number one guy's name? Yannick Sinner. Nick Kyrgios is in the booth saying what Yannick Sinner should be doing in this point, and it's like, what would you be doing in this point, Nick? How would you be playing in the Australian Open final? What would your strategy be? I'll tell you what you'd be doing. You'd be having a fucking hot dog in the stands. You would never make it this far. But people love his commentary. He's got something about him. He wears earrings and basketball jerseys.
Yeah, he's got charisma.
He's got charisma. That's
Dude,
what it is.
I'm sorry, but Billy, if your career goes a lot better than it's currently projecting, you will be third mic and Nick Kyrgios will be second mic on Triple M Canberra.
Yeah.
And do you know what? There's a smile on my face. The thought of me sitting next to the King Kyrgios being like just the guy who laughs at what he said.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be so good. Nick, invaluable insight.
Dude, this is how much Nick Kyrgios hates tennis. He started a podcast.
About tennis?
No.
Is the podcast about anything?
I think he just interviews like Matthew McConaughey and shit. But it's like, that's how desperate this guy is to not play tennis. He started a podcast. The last swing for the most desperate men on the planet. Nick Kyrgios. That's how much he hates running. Like this is one of my favorite things. Like with Favola, Nick Kyrgios, he's not in shape. Like they're always like, he's not fit. And you can see him under his 3 basketball jerseys. He's not in shape. He's not physically fit, which is like the absolute bare minimum for an Australian Open tennis player. It's like, are you fit? He's like, I am not in good physical condition.
But he made the Wimbledon final once.
Well, yes.
But like he wasn't fit then. Like it hasn't like he's declined.
He made the quarterfinal. I don't know if he would have got through Rafa Nadal had Nadal played, because I think Nadal pulled out with injury. He never played the semi-final.
Ah.
That was the thing.
Okay.
There was a bit of hometown cooking on that.
But he beat Nadal that other game. Like
Yeah,
back
and
in the day.
he's beat the big 3 a couple of times. He's the absolute king of doing one thing one time
Yeah.
and just coasting off it for years.
I respect it. Don't you respect it? I respect it so much.
I am jealous of it. Yeah, there's a genuine envy for sure.
There's definitely that thing where you had guys at school who just, no matter what they did, just seemed to excel at it, no matter how little they gave a shit about it. And you just be like, what I would give.
I think at the end of the day, some blokes are hot and cool and others are not. And the reality is that Brett Favola and Nick Kyrgios have more roots than me. And it's clearly under my skin.
So wait, some blokes are hot and cool. Can blokes be hot and uncool and cool and unhot?
I don't know.
Abso-fucking-lutely they can.
Where do they sit in the hierarchy?
Okay, so hot, uncool guys, they're your jacked nerds.
Yeah, that Henry Cavill guy, the Superman guy.
Henry Cavill.
Cavill.
Is he uncool?
Very uncool.
Superman's uncool.
Oh, this might be a bit of a stretch.
No. He's like a big like Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons like nerd guy. He's just jacked. He's just swole, dude.
I mean, to call him
So he can
hot,
roll those dice fucking far.
Yeah. I mean, to call Henry Cavill hot is a pretty gross misuse of the word hot.
Is he not hot?
He's way past hot. He's like transcending the word. Like, I feel like, like your engineering blokes who get into CrossFit,
Right.
they're technically jacked with a good jawline, but they probably still don't root that much. Whereas then you got your guys who like chain smoking cigarettes, not really in the best shape, but there's something about them.
Yeah.
There's something about them. I'm trying to think of an example.
Was Warne hot?
Warne wasn't hot.
No.
No, not really.
What about at his peak? What about when he was young and the peroxide hair and all the rest of
I
it?
still don't think hot.
No?
He was definitely way cooler than he was hot, because Warnie's whole thing was that he wasn't in shape.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Nick Kyrgios, I'm ripping on him, but Warnie's pretty much the same bloke, and he's like my absolute hero.
I reckon the longer that Warne would have lived, the less we would have as a culture liked him.
Well, so one strong comparison between Warne is like if Nick Kyrgios actually became the thing that people want him to be. Like Warne is actually the greatest cricketer of all
But
time.
Warne fucking loved cricket in a way Kyrgios does not love tennis.
Yes.
He loves it so much. It's like his favorite thing.
But he loved
Yes.
footy too, right? He was
He wanted to be a footy player.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a footy player, but he wasn't hot enough.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The thing with Warnie was sometimes I wasn't sure if his broadcasting career was endearing him to the Australian
No,
public.
I don't think so.
Whoa. I want to put a foot down there heavily. His broadcasting career was incredible because he just knew what was going to happen. He was like Nostradamus. It was fucking insane.
Yeah, I really liked him, but a lot of people, I think maybe older than us, more in the 40 plus bracket, I feel like a lot of them thought he was a flog, quote unquote.
But isn't that like his whole appeal? Like he is absolutely 100% that, but he's also the best cricketer ever, and he fucked Liz Hurley and like, you know, chain durries, eats spaghetti out of a tin.
Yeah.
But also did those two other things still.
Did you
Like,
see him eat spaghetti out of a tin, or are you just assuming?
I think that's like,
No, that was his thing where he would get spaghetti and baked beans sent to India because he could not eat any of the local food.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
He was like a pickles off the cheeseburger bloke. Like to that extent.
Yeah, right.
But the thing with Warnie was the Liz Hurley thing. That's like a Manchester City player would fuck Liz Hurley. Not a guy who bowls spin in Test cricket. That's how cool he was. He literally transcended the game in that no cricketer should be fucking Liz Hurley in retirement.
Yeah, it's not like Muralitharan's, getting into Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't think Marnus Labuschagne is putting Abby Chatfield to the sword. The guy from Peking Duck is doing that. The universe is as it should be. Warne went against the grain. But his broadcasting career was so funny, I thought, because I think this happens with the really good guys is they don't understand incompetence. They can't wrap their head around players that aren't good. So, like, he hated Mitchell Starc. He used to always rip on Mitchell Starc. I remember one time they announced the one-day team for Australia, and they go, oh, Warne, few new players in there, couple of young guys. Who do you like in this squad? And Warne said straight away, I'll tell you one thing, I would get Peter Hanscom out of there immediately. I don't know why they've picked him. And it's like, Warne, no, you're not at the pub. You're on KO. You're on KO right now. You obviously have a personal issue with Peter Hanscom that you cannot be airing out right now.
But do we not agree with him? Whenever I've seen Peter Hanscom on an Australian team list, I've been like, get him out of there. He shouldn't be here. There's a gap. There's a problem. We need to get the young guys coming through. This sucks.
And that was the thing. Warne never really wrapped his head around the fourth wall.
Yeah.
He was always on the couch with you, which I loved about him.
And he always will be.
Yeah.
In my heart. He might have passed, but he hasn't passed from this couch.
You just hear him lighting durries on Channel 9 commentary. Michael Slater's trying to put it out.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Like, I find it quite humorous. I think Shaw Woodland did a funny video about this on his Instagram where, like, I love how the Shane Warne Foundation has been set up to fight heart disease, and they're doing some great stuff with those heart machines at the cricket. I think, like, they've had, like, 10 blokes where they've, like, you need to go to hospital right away. Like, you're about to die any second.
And he's like, look, I'll go at lunch. Like, that's fair. All right, enjoy the first session. No meat pies.
Yeah. But I just find it hilarious how they're like, guys, heart disease can sneak up on you from anywhere. It's like, well, I don't think it snuck up on your dad. Okay, like, I think he was sneaking up on heart disease, if anything. Like, he was running heart disease down like it owed him money for years and years. Like, he didn't have a vegetable for 2 decades. He would only drink, like, vodka raspberries. Like, his biggest addiction was probably sugar. He would just lollies and sausage rolls and Coke and cigarettes. Like, this idea that he was like a massive like whiskey and cocaine guy is actually quite false.
Really?
Yeah, he would drink like vodka raspberries and like didn't do drugs. His real vices were sugar and bitches.
Imagine going up to Liz Hurley with 2 vodka raspberries and being like, hello, 708 wickets. Good to see you.
Sorry, did you want a drink? Because these are both for me.
Yeah. That's so sick.
He's the king.
He is the king.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just the amount of sex he had, you just got to tip the hat.
I forget if I've told this story, but it's like my mate, like a friend of a friend story. They were installing something and it turned out to be Shane Warne's house. Allegedly. It turned out to be Shane Warne's house. And what they were installing was a mirror. And where they were installing the mirror was above his bed.
Yes.
Right. Fuck yeah.
I've heard he had like a full, basically like sex dungeon type thing, like a very consensual sex dungeon, of course. No connotations there, but yeah, he was a big sex guy.
Shane Warne?
Oh yeah,
Get out of here.
yeah.
No way.
Shout out. But I think the thing with him was, and not to speak ill of the dead, but I think he just had some dodgy Viagra in Thailand.
Surely.
Is that what it was?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All the other story is that he was on a cleanse and like his body just freaked out from like all the nutrients.
Yeah.
See, look, I actually believe that one more because the idea of Warne ever struggling to get hard makes no sense to me. Like, none. Come on. Just the idea of Warne being like, this never happens to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't, brother. He's rock hard all the time. It's Shane Warne.
After 14 vodka raspberries, maybe.
Now, I refuse to sit here and hear the idea that Shane Warne suffered from erectile dysfunction. There's no chance.
On this podcast brought to you by Erectile Dysfunction Medication Pilot.
Shout out. He probably needed a pill to get him through the day to keep it down. And then at 6 p.m. just bang.
That's so funny. He's got like the hay fever thing. It's like daytime, nighttime. It's just like daytime keeps it down, nighttime lets it flow, baby. We're back on. But yeah, I think the idea of the cleanse, because like I know those people who like just shouldn't be alive. And if you were to ever make them healthy, I think that would kill them. Like your body's just not used to it. It's been doing something a certain way for 45 years.
That was the Amy Winehouse thing, right? Wasn't that the thing?
What?
I thought she was killed by alcohol withdrawals.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know that.
Really?
I think so, yeah. You can't just go cold turkey and hit a wean off.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think alcohol is like the worst thing to get off when you're properly into it.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, it's like you just got to get in the rhythms of life, whatever they may be. Like over the, I live in Surrey Hills, and sometimes when I'm walking around, you'll see blokes clocking on for like their 9 a.m. schooner. And the reality is that whatever you think about that, if he ever misses that 9 a.m. schooner, he will drop dead.
Where are people going for 9 a.m. schooner in Surrey Hills?
The Madison or the Strawberry Hills Hotel.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Maddo is the classic. 'Cause
Where's
I
the
used to-
Madison?
That's just down from the Strawberry Hills Hotel. Same street. It's the one on the corner next to the station.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Madison, you will see people there at all times.
Yeah, I used to work Zanzibar. Well, it was called Zanzibar then. Now it's Webster's in Newtown, which used to close at 5 a.m. And the staffies were at the Madison at 6.
Right.
And that place was not empty. Let me tell you
Yeah.
that. A lot of high vis, and you know they were going to work, not coming home.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's guys there. There is blokes in high vis where you don't know if they've stopped work, if they're starting, or if they're at lunch. And it is crazy. Rowan, my mate, Rowan O'Neill, Sydney comedian. I'm not sure if he's been on the cabin.
He's not been a guest in the cabin yet.
Not been a guest on the cabin, but he's got a great. I don't know if he's done this on stage, but he was in. His girlfriend lives in Cronulla, and he was on the 5 a.m. train to go to his job as a stonemason in high vis. And it's a 5 a.m. Cronulla train, and the whole carriage is just blokes in high vis. And he said he wanted to get up in front of the carriage and just be like, lads, we fucking blew it. What happened? Surely we're all here together. We've all made the same mistakes. How can we fix this? How can we not be on this train in the future, you know?
I have a memory of like when I would sometimes go to the gym before work. We go to the gym near my work and being on that train where everyone else is in high vis and I'm in Lululemon. You're like, oh no.
Yeah. That's tough.
I think one of these blokes is going to ask me out. They're just going to be confused. You're a chick, right?
You want to go get a drink right now?
Vodka raspberries on me.
Fuck it, hell. But I don't know. But yeah, so that's the bloody goss around town. But Nick Kyrgios, he went out. That's the thing with Nick Kyrgios is he holds his mystique regardless. Like he got bundled out in the first round of the Oz Open.
Yes.
And everyone's still like, oh man, he's cool. Like his failure never seems to actually affect his aura.
Yeah, it is true. Like
He's actually like, his achievements are not that many. But
no.
And he doesn't, well, and also not even having a go at him because he doesn't really play. So, like, it's crazy to have this aura as a tennis player. He's 29.
Yeah.
He's still in his 20s.
But don't you think that like youth, like any kind of potential thing just kind of goes with someone forever? Like I think it's very hard to shake that. Like, you know, someone's like a child genius, right? Like they're one of those like child prodigies, like they're a Mensa at 6. Oh my God. It's like, what do they do now? Oh, they're just some lawyer in a firm. And it's like, yeah, but they're like a genius though. Like, you know, it's still like one day it's all going to kick back in.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it's just general human optimism, you know? It's just like they've got the capacity to be good. They're not right now, but maybe one day. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the thing with like relationships as well, where you're like, this chick is so cool, like, but you know she's not that cool, but she could be.
And how did this chick become cool, Mr. Darcy?
I don't know. She could laugh a bit more at what I'm saying. I think
That would help out.
You know,
How'd the date go, by the way?
it went okay.
Okay.
It went okay.
So what, a 5 p.m. meetup?
5 p.m.
At the clock on
at
the balcony.
clock, on the balcony.
Sunset?
Sun setting. See, the clock's good because you can people watch on the street.
And it's also got a Western aspect, so the sunset would be quite nice.
Yes.
How do you
100%.
know the clock has a Western aspect?
Are you not on top of that?
Someone's been on a few first dates at the clock, I think.
Actually, never have. Not once.
Oh, really?
I used to live walking distance as well. Never.
It's a good pub.
A couple of like third, fourth dates there, and then you do the thing where you're like, we should steal a clock. You know, there's the clocks on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Snake a clock. Be
you
a bad boy.
You ever steal a clock?
Never stole a clock. But I talked about it.
Yep.
Much like Nick Kyrgios, I had the potential to
Yeah.
steal a clock. Never did, but the mystique remained.
Yeah. That's the same with stand-up comedians where like some cunt was good in 2011 and then like they can just get on any gig they want for like till the end of time. You know? Some bloke's just freaking out. It's like, no. He got nominated for something in 2008, so he's allowed to do 23 minutes.
You don't understand. This kid had potential when the iPhone 4 was new.
Yeah.
We're all picturing the same guy right now, right?
Yeah, big time.
There's 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Can't wait to get him in the cabin. So tell us about the past.
Yeah. Dear God.
Sorry, this is a podcast, by the way. I don't know if these were around when you were big.
Yeah. I don't know, but do you reckon it would be better being a comedian in like the early 2000s when you didn't have to have a podcast or do clips?
Absolutely.
It would be so freeing just to be like, yeah, dude, it's just a lottery.
Like, you know that, like,
Now it's like, it feels so much more in your own control.
yeah.
Like you should, if you're not making it, you should try and do something about it. It's like, God, I just want to go on the footy show one time.
Launch my career.
Yeah, I just want to do one John Hopewadi joke on the footy show one time and play theatres for the next 20 years.
I want Fatty to invite me over to the panel. That's how you know you've made it.
Yeah. Fatty Warne being like,
Then it goes to commercial. The doors ad. You come back. It's you and him in a sumo suit running at each other. Oh my God, this kid's the next Carl Barron. Look at him.
I would run at Fatty Vorted in a sumo suit.
Now or then? Or at any time?
I mean, maybe not now. I think I'd heard him, but he's quite old now. He's retired, Fatty Vorden.
Has he? Got out of the
Yeah.
game.
Got out of the game. I think he's quite old.
I think you're more likely to host a radio show with him than sumo wrestle with him.
Yeah, God.
No, come on. I can see Billy at a sportsman's dinner hosted by Fatty Vorden.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got this 15 minutes that fucking crushes so much harder than anything you got.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, those athletes, have you ever been to like an athlete's like breakfast or any of that shit?
Well, I've been to like cricket presentations where you have the guy come.
Oh, okay. I've been to like the Priory Club, like in the city.
Oh, no.
I like, is it Priory or Primary? Primary. Duck. Primary. That makes sense. Priory. What the fuck is that?
Duck? Why duck?
You got a primary, you got out for a duck. Anyway. So it's like some club in the city, and it was like Rodney Hogg was the guest speaker.
Yeah.
And like Rodney Hogg is like, for anyone who's not cricket literate, like 70s, 80s, like wasn't really a fixture.
80s.
I'm thinking Bradley Hogg.
Yeah, not that
him.
guy. Just like not a fixture of the Australian team. He did like a few tours, blah blah blah. But he had like one tour where he got like this many wickets at this incredible average, and he's got like a 30-minute watertight stand-up set around that.
Seriously?
And it fucking murders.
All of them have just an insane 20 minutes. And
Yeah.
Barnett's told me about these sportsman's lunches because he does a lot of them. And they pay really well. But basically, yeah, like Bradley Hogg or some cunt with the last name Hogg will come up. And they'll be like, all right.
Any of the Hogg dynasty.
And they'll be like, all right, we have Bradley Hogg talking about cricket and then we have stand-up comedy. But Brad Hogg is telling the funniest story about like Ricky Ponting or something, and it's just so funny. And then they go, now it's time for the stand-up comedy, and you're not as funny as Brad Hogg.
Or interesting.
Or
relevant.
Or relevant. I mean, how many words do you need? But
Bradley Hogg knows.
I did, I once performed stand-up comedy at a cricket presentation years ago
For a club that you played for or another
for a club that I played for.
So the people knew you?
Jesus.
No, I played at the club.
Oh, okay, but you weren't playing currently. This was...
No, so I was still playing.
Oh, you were still playing?
This is years ago. Maybe I was like 22 or something.
But so then the people in attendance would kind of be familiar with you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Everyone knew me.
That's so much pressure.
It was the sort of thing, it's one of my biggest regrets and most traumatizing memories, not to bury the lead. But it was...
Did it go too well?
Well, I said yes to it.
If only I filmed it.
My first comedy special live at Manly Cricket Rewards Night.
That'd be sick. You and your whites
Yeah.
on stage. That'd be mad.
Well, I was in a suit. I was in my weddings, races, and funerals suit. And I went up and I was like, I'd only been doing stand-up for a couple of years. And I did like 10 minutes and it was a bit up and down. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
Was it cricket material? Were you doing cricket
I did
stuff?
I did some of my material and some material about the players. But then the biggest laugh I got is I said this bloke Rex, he was the fourth grade captain. I said, geez, you absolutely get indoctrinated in fourth grade playing under Rex. I went in as a single 21-year-old And by the semi-finals, I was a twice divorced 43-year-old. And that got a big laugh in the room. But afterwards, Rex was actually quite shattered. And he took it really personally. And
Wait, the guy that you made the joke about while he was present in the room?
yeah, no, it was
Crazy.
Yeah, and that was the only big laugh I got. I destroyed a friendship, and I went sort of okay, but I was freaking out up there, and it ruined the prezzo night for me because leading up to it's like a wedding when you MC your mate's wedding. I don't know if you guys have done that,
Have done.
but
I MC'd his wedding.
well, there you go.
He's not my mate, but I did MC the
And
wedding.
he's actually some mates' weddings as well.
Yeah, but before you're not like 100%. Relaxed, chilling out beforehand. Like you can't recklessly have 8 schooners or whatever.
For sure.
It's it's on your mind a little bit. And then afterwards, everyone was sort of coming up to me like I was like a Make-A-Wish kid or something. Like, great job, mate. Hey, mate, I found it really funny. You know when people have to qualify that they found it funny? Like, not that it was funny, that there was a vibe in the room that everyone felt it was funny. They have to qualify that their individual opinion was that it was funny.
Yeah.
Regardless of what other opinions you might be hearing.
Yeah, they're like, look, objectively, we all know what happened, but subjectively, I think you're great.
The worst part was, so I had kind of a up and down thing. And the weirdest thing was they asked me back like 5 years in a row and I always said no. And they would be like, in September, they would be like, April 3rd, the following year, are you available? I'd be like, oh, mate, I'm so sorry.
Would you like to MC Rex's memorial? We miss him so much.
But the worst thing was I had a bumpy 10 and it was quite embarrassing because I wasn't very good at stand-up as well.
2 years in.
2 years in. And then after me, well, they had the main courses and then Darren Carr came on. The puppet guy. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Darren Carr, the puppet guy.
Ventriloquist.
Ventriloquist, I'm sorry.
Can't believe you didn't know the technical term, puppet guy.
Yeah, puppet guy might be derogatory. But the puppet guy comes on and fuck me, he absolutely wrecked the place. He did like 45 minutes and like people are falling out of their chairs. And I while the puppet guy's wrecking, I'm just sitting there with my beer going like, this is fucking humiliating. Like it was just, he was just so good. He was so good at this particular skill. Like, he might be the greatest stand-up comedian at cricket presentations of all time. Do you know what I mean?
What, did he have like a Ricky Ponting puppet? Like what was going on?
He just like, he had all these jokes. He'd be like, where's the first grade captain? Then he'd get the puppet. I don't know, man, but people love this puppet. And he had like 3 different puppets.
What style of puppet? Was it like old school kind of ceramic doll?
What was the race of
dummy?
the puppet?
It was like the ceramic doll.
Yeah,
like the
okay.
big mouth sort of.
Fucking creepy things.
What's it called when you draw someone and you make them look really ugly?
Caricature.
Like a caricature.
I think you've had some bad experience with caricatures, mate. Usually they just exaggerate your features.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm just traumatized by this whole thing. But yeah, that was the only time I've done a presentation night of any note. But I'd love to get into the corporate game just to make an extra 10 grand a year somewhere.
Bit of cash.
Yeah. Have you guys done any corporates?
I've never done one. I know you do them, Dan.
I've done a couple, not that many. Sorry, I just want to get to the puppet. Do you think the ventriloquist ever gets jealous of the puppet?
That's really, yeah.
Like it's like a Liam Noel Gallagher situation, you know? Being like, who are they laughing at? It's me. I write all the jokes, but I perform them.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard of any puppeteer losing the puppet. Like, you know, like I've never heard like, oh yeah, it's like Jeff Dunham, but this time it's just me, just Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah, because some
Netflix
people,
documentary, I'm Jeff. Like, you know.
Yeah, just Jeff. Well, some people will go musical and then they'll lose the guitar.
Yes. And some people will start as stand-up comedians and then develop a crutch.
Yes. But I don't know. Has anyone ever lost the puppet? I don't know, because I think it's a bigger step to get the puppet. I think that's the big step. I think once you've got the puppet, you're a puppet guy.
I can 100% see resenting the puppet. Where you're like, fuck, I don't need you. And then you find out you do. You do need him.
Do you reckon they just do gigs like on the side as themselves, same jokes without the puppet?
Yeah.
Just like, huh? And everyone's like, no.
Well, because a lot of what makes it funny is that the puppet looks fucking weird.
Yeah. Okay. Like, it looks silly. Like,
It looks silly.
Randy Feltface.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of physical comedy they can do with the puppet, the big bulging eyes.
See, I wouldn't even count Randy as a puppet. I'd count Randy as a comedian. I would say, do you know what I mean?
This is just one of the great compliments. You've disappeared into the puppet.
I just think that
Calling Randy a puppet is like calling Henry Cavill hot. He transcends puppet.
He transcends puppetry.
Tom has
that guy can vote legally. I'm pretty sure. Randy Feltface.
Dude, I think Randy fucked my ex-girlfriend. You know? But Randy's so funny though. Like, I don't want to compare Randy to these puppet guys.
Surely they've got a bit of camaraderie as like fellow ventriloquist puppeteers.
If I'm the Randy Feltface guy, I'd be distancing myself from other puppet cunts. Do you not think?
Because you'd be like your own genre.
Well, because realistically, you need to have diversity on lineups. But at the end of the day, how much room is there for puppet guys? Probably not that much. So if you're too buddy with the other puppet guys, you probably, he's got his puppet's hand in your puppet's pocket.
And then obviously your hand is inside your puppet, and his pen is inside. Yeah, it's a lot. It's
layered.
What I mean? It's layered in there. But I just realized, I think you're fucking right, because everyone else who's a ventriloquist puppeteer, they are their own name. Whereas Randy Feltface is just the puppet.
I think the thing...
That's what I'm saying.
Like, yeah, that's actually a distinction. Like Nina Conti, like Jeff Dunham, like all these other famous ventriloquists, like they go up as themselves. Whereas like we all know Randy's name, but we're not going to say it because as an act, he's Randy Feltface.
Because I think you were saying you reckon the reason puppets are funny is because the puppet looks funny. I think it's because you can have the two perspectives on stage at the same time. It's like a double act, right? So you can be the straight guy,
yes,
and the puppet can be the can undermine you or whatever. But Randy doesn't have that. It's just Randy. Like, he doesn't have to lean on like the kind of two perspectives things. It's just the puppet.
Fuck. Yeah, wow. Billy, I think you're right.
I'm telling you. I have a lot of respect for Randy Feltface.
Even though he fucked your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. I've never met the guy who plays Randy. But I tell you what.
That's so funny.
Randy felt Prestige. They're never in the same room at the same time.
But I tell you what, like... someone like Nina Conti or Jeff Dunham, can you imagine being in their comedy scene when they were coming up? Like, like everyone gets passed over for stuff in the comedy industry. Failure is a big part of the business. But imagine you get passed over for Comedy Zone. You go, not my year. Who'd they go with? They went with Nina Conti, this 22-year-old chick with a puppet. You'd be like, fuck, come on. Anyone but a puppet person, it's like a different thing.
I think you've got more work. You said puppet guy. Now you're like, wait a second, puppet person.
Puppet person.
2025.
Puppet bird.
Women can be puppets too.
Yeah, 100%. Women can engage in one of the lowest art forms just as much, They're slapping the pokies. They've got their hands in puppets. They're doing it all.
Do you reckon anyone's ever like looked at comedy and been like, everyone's after diversity now, and it's like a straight white guy and he's like, you know what? I'm going to get a gay black puppet.
It will be an interesting thing to
Is that
do.
Progressive or regressive?
I would like to get a gay black puppet and just email all the bookers in Australia and just be like, your move. Hello, dear Comedy Republic.
I don't know if you realize, but in chess, white moves first. So your move, I got the black puppet. Good luck.
Yeah, God.
We should do a pilot ad. We're powering through, Billy Darcy. I sent it to you on WhatsApp because you read the pilot ad out.
You
Do
aware
have
of
your
this?
phone with you?
I
I've
can't
got it.
believe you guys think I'm going to read your ad that you get paid for.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's absolutely insane.
I warned you before you got here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did warn me.
Yes.
But it just made me furious on the way over.
as it should.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, so this podcast is brought to you by Pilot, which famously Shane Warne doesn't need.
Sorry, I'm looking at my cousin's
I just looked
photos.
over to your phone. It's just a baby photo.
I'm not on
I'm
WhatsApp.
like, fuck, did I send that to you?
I'm not on WhatsApp regularly.
So yeah, Billy Darcy, take it away down the barrel.
Hello, floggers. Billy Darcy here, and I just wanted to share something with you. I'm struggling with erectile dysfunction. And you know what? I know you guys are taking the piss out of me, but I actually did have an incident a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, do you want to enter Soft Cock Corner after the ad read?
Well,
That's where we talk about our feelings. It's very brave.
Yeah, I just took shitloads of Dexies. I don't know if that's part of Soft Cock Corner. But,
Man, thanks for opening up.
but this doesn't even have anything to do with Pilot being a sponsor of the podcast. I'm just being honest. Well, there you go. And that's true. I've been running my own solo podcast for 282 episodes, but never had the courage to bring it up because I struggle to get anything up. And I've tried everything. Hot chicks, ugly chicks, persistent men, nothing makes my cock hard. Not even when the cricket's on in the background, unmuted. I'm a third grade cricketer with a third grade cock because in addition to being soft, it's also small. Anyway, I don't have a solution, but thanks for letting me share. Pilot, hard made easy. $20 off your first order with promo code FLOGGERS20.
There we
All
go.
capital letters.
There we go.
There you go, lads.
I've had a real rough run on those ads, so the fact I got a couple of laughs out of Tom was really nice. So thank you.
One of the more abrasive approaches to the pilot ad we've done with the guest, really. Usually there's some kind of concept behind it. There's some sort of
Billy,
layer.
we go way back.
I thought you were pushing your like having me read it at all. But no, that was quite humorous. And you're lucky that I'm able to see the funny side of that because I actually have gotten and lost Manscaped ads on my podcast 4 different times. So I've read out the Jingle Ball special. I've read them all out. Okay.
So how'd you lose the Manscaped ads?
Well, I think the thing with the Manscaped, the lawnmower 4.0, that's what I was flogging. I think, my podcast, it's got a good following, but it's not that big. And I just think at a certain point, everyone's shaved their pubes. I just think my podcast was not growing at such a rapid rate.
And neither were those pubes.
Yeah, I think, once a bloke has a lawnmower 4.0, at the end of the day, he doesn't need another one.
Yeah. You got to wait until your contract runs out like an iPhone.
Yeah.
I'll get one in 3 years. I'll get
I don't know,
lawnmower 7.0.
I guess,
Manscaped subscription service?
Yeah.
Just send the new one out, send this one back. We recycle.
I need the Manscaped items to be more like iPhones where after a month they like start to run out of battery and that sort of stuff.
There's a planned obsolescence.
Yeah.
There's a software update on the blades. They get a bit blunter. You're like, it's just not shaven as well as it was.
I think 21-year-old white guys are not hairy enough as well.
Yeah.
Maybe if I got more into the Lebanese community, I'd be flogging more trimmers, but
That's true. Get the Greeks in.
yeah. But yeah, and then Manscaped would come back and I'd be on again. And then I'd flog a few more, but yeah, could not hold Manscaped down for an extended period.
That's rough, dude.
It's phenomenal to me that Manscaped is a big enough idea to sponsor as many podcasts as it does. How many people need pube-specific shaving equipment?
Well, have you ever tried to shave your pubes with regular shaving equipment?
Yeah.
It's very frightening.
Have you used the
Quite dangerous.
Yeah.
Have you used the
I think
Manscaped
we've all
one?
had a little accident.
Are we brought to you by Manscaped today? Is that what's happening?
No, we're not. We could be.
We could be.
If fucking Manscaped would man up.
Have you used Manscaped?
I've never
the
used
lawnmower
Manscaped.
4.0?
I've genuinely thought about the Manscaped thing, being like, would this be nice? Because I'm giving it a go, and I'm terrified.
Really?
I've nicked some sack at points.
Oof.
Yeah, no, I use the Manscaped lawnmower and it is good.
Okay.
It's
All right.
better.
We'll have the one over.
But I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know what it is about men, but like, I think we need to be advertised to behind closed doors. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you could put a million fucking Ashley and Martin ads on the cricket, and it's like, it's not gonna, like, one podcast ad will be more effective than one television ad. I feel like blokes, when they're when blokes are in the world, they just, I don't know, but there's something about podcasts where it's like unlocked the gateway to like middle-aged straight guys. It's like, how the fuck do we access these people? And podcast seems to be the way for whatever reason.
So I actually work at Pilot, like in my day job as well. And so
well, here we go. So you probably have the answers.
So because we've been running these ads from the start. Like we were sponsored by Pilot before I worked there. And we always kind of said
The ultimate pilot sponsorship. We are willing to
full-time
offer you
salary?
$200 an episode, plus we will give Tommy Witz a $80K a year job. Mate, you're really doing well out of this spot.
little north of that. Thank you.
Yeah, nice.
He's talking about the podcast ads. He's way south of 80.
But we always kind of said, I don't want to see the data because I don't want to ask for the data because then they'll go, wait, fuck, how much are we giving these guys? But then they showed us the chart and I was like, wow, a lot of people with erectile dysfunction listen to our podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you
now
go.
we have one on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I will say, is this a part where you talk openly about your feelings or whatever?
Softcore Corner, please enter.
Is this the end of the pod? I don't want to finish on
No.
I did experience erectile dysfunction the other week, but like just got so dexied out of my mind in Manly, but couldn't get an erection that night. Went back to a friend's house, a woman. But then what about this? This is the first time this happened to me, and this is really where the games ended. The next morning, still nothing. Right?
How early were you trying the next morning?
Like 10 a.m.
Ooh, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. So that's when, if you are on the beers and the gear all night and you can't get it up at 4 a.m., hey, that's just rock star living as far as I'm concerned. 10 a.m. the next morning wasn't as chill. Wasn't as exciting, I think. That's the first time it's happened to me during the day, and it was horrendous.
Was this in company both times, or were you just testing the waters on your own?
No,
second
still at her
time?
house.
Still at her house.
So we go back to her place at like 4 a.m. Like we were up like very late. It was a very big night. So I'm willing to write the night off, but usually the next day you would assume you'd be back. But then the next morning, wake up at her place, 10 a.m., still nothing.
I think
know what
you'd
I mean?
still lay that at the feet of the legacies. Surely.
I would as well. And actually, and then 10 a.m., we were in bed getting sexual. And I was like, fuck. Still nothing. And then it actually became quite freeing because then I just gave up. I was like, I'm not having an erection
you
anytime
had
soon.
the Nick Kyrgios approach to sexual activity.
Yeah.
When you stopped wanting it so badly.
Yeah.
In his youth, Billy had a lot of potential. All his previous coaches talked about it. If he could just get in shape, that cock would be hard.
That's the thing, because we didn't have any sex, but she knew that if we did, it would have been great. You know what I mean? Had I tried. But yeah, but once I gave up on the erection altogether, then it was just free.
Can I just clarify? You gave up on the erection and you're like, all right, nobody's playing anything. Let's go watch TV. Or were you like, I'll help you out.
I just went down on her and then we went to the beach.
That's so gentlemanly. I'm proud of you. Very chivalrous.
And then we went to the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the order to do that in. Going to the beach, then going down. Come on, that's a bit.
Yeah.
yeah. No.
Textury?
Yep.
Texturing?
No.
Textury.
Grainy?
Grainy. Yeah, grainy.
But the thing was,
like that JFK footage.
but yeah, originally when I couldn't get it up during the day, it was panic stations. And then once you accept that not only are you not getting up, you will not be getting it up, then you can just get on with your day. And the sun was out.
I mean, I like the idea of just not being able to get it up. It's like, well, now I can finally get some stuff done.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was kind of the vibe.
So this is a weird question. Oh, actually, we used to have questions that we asked guests. Should we just ask the one question we never asked?
Why were you going to go? We don't do it consistently enough for it to be like.
They're like, I don't know. Where'd you go to school? That's all. That's all the question
All
is.
right,
It's
here we are. That's what we're doing now.
Sydney as fuck.
Oh, is it like because is the Flog cabin, the theme is private school. Is that sort of what unites you guys?
Why does everyone try and theme us?
But
People try to figure us out.
I don't know. I just feel like that's just the world, mate. Everything needs to be put in a box.
Yep.
I
And our
also
box
went.
costs $20,000 a semester.
Yeah. Well, I also went to a private school, so I'm not throwing any shade. I went to St. Augustine's on the Northern Beaches.
St. Augustine's.
Yeah, it's it's like a Catholic school. It's not like a GPS school. But it was a boys' school,
Yes.
and
How many lads per year?
there was like 140 kids in my year,
Okay.
and it was pretty good. It was very private school in that rugby union was like a religion. Like when I left high school, I thought everyone in Australia loved rugby union.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, so none of you are watching this at all? You know, like you go to uni, you go, did anyone catch the Waratahs last night? Bloke's like, what the fuck?
Genuinely upset.
Yeah, I didn't even play rugby union. I played soccer and cricket, but it was just like shoved down our throats.
Do you have,
Yeah.
any, have any professional footy players come out of your school?
Yes, we had a few. We had Matt Phillip plays for the Wallabies.
Okay.
Speaking of flogs, that bloke was an absolute flog. And I'm sure he's a ripping bloke now, Matt Phillip, but he was a bit of a cunt back in the day.
Like
and
the future rugby union player was a bit of a cunt in high school?
yeah, but
Get out of here.
He wasn't a St. Augustine's boy, Matt Phillip. He was like he came in year 11 on a scholarship
yeah.
from somewhere else. So
Music,
he was,
music scholarship, perchance?
Yeah, so we used to do the triangle scholarships. So you'd have like, Felici Katoa joining the school on a triangle scholarship. But Matt Phillip, his allegiance was more to rugby union than his fellow students, I would say. But at least with the Polynesian lads who came on music scholarships, which were bullshit, at least all of them could actually sing. Whereas like the white guys just had nothing, it was like, this is just blatant. But the problem with the white guys was putting them on an academic scholarship would be even more fake. So triangles was better. But rugby union, I actually had a mate, Rory O'Connor, who played for the Melbourne Rebels. He was a ripping bloke, Rory O'Connor. But this is rugby union in a nutshell, I think. He was playing for the Melbourne Rebels on like 80 grand a year. And he said he just quit because he was like, he had like a chemical engineering degree. And he was a very smart guy, one of the smartest guys in our year. And he was like, I earn like 75 grand a year to get like CTE. And I'm like not famous. And I can only do it for like a few more years. So it's like, I'm just going to earn way more money at this job I'm going to have to do eventually anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was no benefits. Like if you play in the NRL, feel like you're getting CTE, but you're also getting fame and like 250K. Whereas if you're coming off the bench for the Melbourne Rebels,
Yeah, fuck that.
that is fucking brutal.
Yeah, I feel like the other thing is rugby union people, it always seems like they have like another option. Like,
Yes.
You know, whereas like rugby league, it's just like, oh no, I guess I'll just get a job based on my degree.
Yes.
It's just like, I don't think so.
A lot
Ezra
of
man.
PE teachers who used to play for the St. George Illawarra Dragons. That's the difference. Like rugby union guys, they're like on hedge fund boards. Like who's that guy? You guys are probably across this. Is it? I feel like I'm butchering this so hard. Is it Rocky Elsom?
Oh, yeah.
Who he's like?
Oh, he's like on the Lamb or something, isn't he?
He's on the Lamb in like fucking Estonia or something because he got mixed up with a hedge fund that went like defrauded their people, and he's on the board. And he did Mark Burris's podcast from like an undisclosed location. Like the last time I saw someone do a podcast like this, it was the who's the guy? Snowden.
Yeah.
When Snowden went on Joe Rogan, it was the same vibe when Rocky Elsom was on Mark Burris's podcast.
Yeah, he's like
Wow.
Julian Assange with cauliflower ear.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And Mark Burris is like, so what's happened, Rocky? You've got yourself in a bit of hot water. And Rocky Elsom is like, too chill, brother. I am he's giving him a vibe like, way too chill with the approach. I am fucked. Like,
So what? He was unknowingly part of like a Ponzi scheme or something.
All right, do you want to hear this? I got
Yes.
it.
Yeah, please.
Elsom was a member of a consortium that took over the French Pro D2 team RC Narbonne after a promising start with the new owners, which led to reports of possible investment from the Qatar Investment Fund. The club's fortune subsided, and Elsom's association with Narbonne ended amid controversy in 2016. This included allegations of financial mismanagement as well as complaints over Elsom's style as a manager. An international arrest warrant was issued on the 12th of October in 2024 by France after Elsom was found guilty in absentia of fraud, having embezzled 700,000 euros while he was president.
Wow. He was president. So he knew. This wasn't unwitting. This was like, he fucked it. Unless like the treasurer did it and he just didn't realize it was happening.
I don't know because you have to, without knowing.
That's just
The,
so
rug-
far.
the rugby union thing is such a mind fuck with this because if it was any other sport, you'd be like, he is just caught up in some crazy shit right now. But rugby union, you go, it kind of sounds like something a rugby union guy would do, embezzle.
Yeah, like,
It's like, that's kind of their move.
was this the plan all along?
Yeah.
Is this why he started playing in the first place?
Yeah, so it's a tough one. But he went on Mark Burris's podcast and reckons that, you know, he's been screwed over basically. And then on one hand, you've got Rocky Elsom, rugby union guy, embezzling. That's kind of their world. On the other side, you've got the French.
We're just going to say the French embezzle.
So well,
It sounds like a French word, embezzle.
Rock and a hard place of who to trust in this thing.
Yeah. I just like the difference between the scandals. Like rugby union, like European embezzlement scandal, rugby league. Someone took a shit in a hallway.
Well, you know what the rugby league guys do that's really on the nose? And this is kind of alleged. We might need to get you on the ones and twos again here, Tommy Witz, just in case I defame Darren Lockyer. But what these blokes do is they sign on as huge, like sort of they get sponsorship deals from mining companies in Papua New Guinea. And they sign up as like the face of fucking HRG that's like fracking the shit out of PNG. But because Papua New Guinea love rugby league so much, they're like gods over there. So they cop massive amounts of money from these companies.
No way.
And also, I think other parts of Polynesia as well. Yeah, but it's sort of be like Darren Lockyer on a mining ad in PNG.
Wow.
Yeah. That's like the dark side of rugby league.
Just like putting a pretty face on environmental destruction.
Yes.
That's just like, this is Giselle Bundchen for clearing the Amazon. And everyone's
Yeah.
like, she's fucking hot, dude. Like, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Did Giselle do that?
No.
But
But it's just a possibility. I was thinking South American thing.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
it's interesting. Like they've just made this new Papua New Guinea rugby league team.
Yeah.
And it's purely a government ploy to have an Australian presence in Papua New Guinea.
Is that right?
To stop the fracking or continue the fracking? Because the government would want the fracking, right?
No,
Because-
they just want
cash.
they just want an Australian presence there. It's like a China thing.
Right.
They just want to have a strong Australian presence, and they want the PNG government to like the Australian government.
Okay.
And so
probably to
our
keep
way of doing
China away from that.
yes, so our way of doing that, China's like, we will build you anything you want. We're like, we'll give you a rugby league franchise. And to be honest, it's kind of a genius move because what's one thing China can't do? Pass a ball backwards. So it's quite smart. Sucked into Perth, who are not getting a team because we must defend the Northern Cape.
That's so funny. China sees the success of that approach and goes to Taiwan like, hey,
Yeah.
you guys want a rugby league franchise? And they're like, what?
We have Todd Carney as the figurehead for the Shenzhen Super Knights.
Look, and Todd Carney is a bit of a semiconductor when you think about it.
Yeah,
He gets shit moving.
Yeah, he does. He does get shit moving. But
Is he in Europe still? Is he just out there?
Todd Carney, no, he's a colleague, mate. He's just started a podcast with Mitch Pearce.
God.
They did a podcast together.
yeah,
Fucking love that.
Wait,
Yeah, it's
Mitch Pearce sucked off by a dog? Is that Mitch
no,
Pearce?
he
mimed it. Fucking
mimed fucking the dog, which, as far as shit rugby league players have done, has actually aged really well.
Yeah.
I reckon if you were to mime, so Ezra Mam got 9 games and $90,000 for driving with cocaine in his system and plowing into a family and like breaking a 4-year-old girl's hip. He got 8 games, 90 grand. Mitch Pearce pretended to fuck a dog, 9 games, 125 grand.
no shit.
I think maybe he got 1 less game, but more money.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Because when Mitch Pearce was pretending to fuck that dog, that was like the worst thing that anyone had really done at the time. When Todd Carney pissed in his own mouth, that was like the worst thing. Whereas now, like, I feel like it's way more actual crimes.
Yeah, the bar's been raised in terms of what is NRL dysfunction.
I know this
Yes.
isn't what you're saying, but it's funny to think that before 2014, no NRL player had ever done anything wrong.
Yeah, well, I think it's just the iPhone era. I think that's all it is.
Oh, for sure. It's the only thing that really correlates across those is how memeable your infraction was, you know?
Yes.
The more it can show up on Instagram Reels, the more fucked you are.
But is anyone else just on the iPhone era thing? Like, they have those little pouches for stand-up comedy shows. How could they not have them for after parties?
At Bucks parties.
For athletes.
I don't know why. It's endlessly fascinating to me. Like, if I was an AFL player or an NRL player, Mad Monday, this is me organising Mad Monday for an AFL team.
Talk us through it.
So I'm obsessed with that GWS Mad Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys talked about that on the podcast?
We have talked about it, and we also...
it's the best. It's the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
just the incredibly fucked outfits, essentially,
Yes.
for dress-ups.
yes.
But like, I think I shared that as a clarification at some point, but there was like another one like 20 years ago where 2 Saints players came as an agent, like one of them dressed as the agent and the other one dressed as the underage girl that he had a relationship with.
oh, Ricky Nixon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like everyone was like, that's pretty funny.
Yes. And here's the thing is, I think a lot of stuff is funny in the room. That's the clarification.
Much like a ventriloquist.
Yes.
It doesn't travel well.
Yes. I don't
But
know if
inside
anyone-
the clubhouse,
Yeah. Sometimes I watch Live at the Apollo when Nina Conti comes on. You got to be in the room. I think you've got to be in the room. God bless her. But I saw the Just for Laughs lineup and a lot of puppets on there. And this is me planning an AFL Mad Monday. I would go, we're going to an Airbnb 5 hours out of the city. No, like nowhere near anything. And if you want to stay on the coast, that's fine. But like property, like no neighbors. Everyone puts their phones in a bag. We're doing like the Dave Chappelle phones thing. If we're getting grippers involved, same with them, right? Or like
grippers.
or like strippers.
All right. Why are they called grippers?
You know, like just Jack the
Rippers.
Rippers.
It's Cockney rhyming slang.
Just a bit of rhyming slang, mate.
It's one that's never been used before, but it doesn't mean you can't work it out.
Jeez, this is pretty rough for me.
That's
It's the first
embarrassing
time I've
for you, mate.
misunderstood slang on the pod.
Yep. But
Damn.
just phones in the bag. Do absolutely whatever you want for the 2 nights. Bagged out of your mind. You know, let's. I don't really know what else you'd want to do. All they want to do is get bagged out of their mind and fucking headbutt shit. So, which I
Hey, I'm a Sydney Swans fan. They also want to wrestle.
yeah.
They love to wrestle.
Yeah, and even if you want to, like, you know, cheat on your wife with a stripper or whatever, I don't have an issue with any of that. Go absolutely nuts. Just don't film any of it. What is it with the urge to film? It's like if a rugby league player does coke and titty fucks a stripper in the woods and no one sees it, did it ever happen? Like, it's just the need for recognition. Like,
Imagine being with a stripper like, hey, you want to come to the woods real quick? Just come to the woods with me. I'm a rugby league player. Nothing weird's going to happen.
Just putting the woods into Google Maps.
but
That's where Ezman was driving. He's driving to the woods. Trying to get there as quick as he could because he was already hard.
But it's just the need to film it. They
Yeah.
just can't
help themselves.
But surely it's their friends. It's not them. They know. It's
No,
like
it's
the plus
them too.
one.
No,
you
it's
reckon?
just it's the players.
I guess they are like 19.
But they are 19, yeah. But I know, and Ezra Mam is 21, but it's just
But then it's not like they turn 25 and suddenly they're worldly. Like, they're dumb cunts all the way through.
Nah, I reckon I can't. A rugby league player in their 30s who totally fucked it. Like, because I can't think of any, but I'm not as into it as you guys.
Who got that? They don't get that far. Like, they've been caught by then.
yeah, they're playing in
They've had their incident.
yeah,
They're like, oh shit. All
they're
right.
playing in England by then. But it's just the urge to film it. I don't know, this thing where it's like, oh, what? Because I'm a rugby league player or because I'm a cricketer, I'm not allowed to do what I want. It's like, yes. That's exactly
You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it.
Because you get to catch a ball for a living.
Yeah.
The price you have to pay is you cannot do cocaine on camera.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying don't do it. Do as much as you can. Just don't film it.
Yeah.
It's like, what? So, what? Because I'm a rugby league player, I can't have sex with a stripper and film it. It's like, yes. Yes.
This is where the rugby union guys got it right because it's very hard to film embezzlement.
Yeah. But
It's like, oh, get your camera out. I'm signing it. I'm signing it. I'm signing the paperwork.
yeah. But it's like, just I don't know. Someone needs to just sit these guys down and be like, in exchange for getting to catch a fucking ball for 400 grand a year, you just cannot film yourself doing cocaine. And it's a non-negotiable.
Can you imagine how many times they are told that? Like, just think about it. Think about it as
It
a
must be
club
crazy.
management. Like, the amount of money they would spend on getting someone in to be like, just don't film it.
So they got.
Do whatever. Just don't film
I
it.
love just the idea of saying to them, do the cocaine. Like you can do the cocaine. Like that's fine.
They just have like experts in getting cancelled coming in. It's like Michael Richards being like, if no one filmed the set,
Yes.
I would still be getting royalties from Simon. Everything would be fine for me.
Yeah.
Just don't film it. Like Mel Gibson's like, just if they don't pick up the phone, hang up. Don't leave a voicemail. Just don't.
You know, there's that thing how Mark Zuckerberg covers up the webcam on the front of his laptop?
Yeah.
Just starts seeing footy players with like sticky tape over the back of their iPhones. Oh, right, of course. Yeah, sorry.
Then it's like one of them fucks up. Oh, I forgot about the front facing camera. Damn it.
Yeah, God. But here's the thing. I think it's like full circle, if we can, with the Nick Kyrgios thing. It's like anyone who would have the sensibility to know that I am a rugby league player, I'm a public figure, and I can't be on camera doing cocaine would also never be good enough to play in the rugby league, in the NRL.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like God gives with one hand and takes with the other.
Yeah, if you're
Anyone who has the common sense to not do that would also not have the talent to play 5'8" for the Brisbane Broncos.
100%. If you're overthinking getting the phone out at the after party, you're not going to chip and chase. You're in your own head. You're not going to take that risk.
You're going to look at Shane Webke running at you full steam and be like, oh, I should put a shoulder down.
Yeah.
Yes, 1,000,000%. So that's the difference. And at the end of the day, I'm just an untalented guy trying to relate to talented men. and do you know what, lads? I'm trying my best.
Trying to relate to rugby league players. Hey, boys, ever thought about the consequences of your actions in real time? Ever? No? Okay, cool. I'll go next round.
Yeah.
God.
Sorry, Billy. This is a weird thing. When you were coming on the pod, I thought about this, and I don't know why. But you mentioned Bucks parties before, and you mentioned planning Mad Monday. For some reason, I look at you as a man who would be an absolute asset at a Bucks party. Is this correct or incorrect?
I'd be an absolute asset.
Yeah, I just feel like
planning it?
not planning it, just attending.
Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm great on Bucks parties. I have a lot of energy, and I am also I'm kind of the bridge between two worlds because I smoke weed and do coke. So I'm good to have around. And also, I don't mind putting in a shift with the stripper as far as just talking to her like a normal person.
That's big
Putting
of you.
in a shift, clocking in, clocking out.
All right, come to the woods. Let's have a chat.
Yeah. Well, I literally just went on a big Bucks party in Melbourne before Christmas, and it was a massive one. But I tell you what, there was like we do the thing where like you get on the boat with the two topless waitresses, and then you go around, you do a few laps. I will say, if you're going to get a boat, Melbourne's probably not the place to do it.
Just up and down the Yarra?
No, we went up just around the Docklands area.
Oh,
A lot of fucking cranes and shit. But I will say there's that first, because the night before, like, this is my thing with Bucks parties is I don't really think they need to be more than one night.
correct.
That's probably my one note.
But was this a destination Bucks?
It was a destination Bucks.
So that's why they're like, but we got to make use of the Friday. It can't just be the Saturday.
yeah.
Which sucks. I agree with you. I think it should be just everyone. Let's just go as hard as humanly possible on the Saturday and then never talk for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think so. And I enjoyed the destination wedding the destination Bucks because we went out and about after, and I'm single. So we were out and about in Melbourne. So that's cool.
We're trying to pick up on a Bucks.
A little bit, yeah.
That's outrageous.
But we were just out, you know?
Were many other people there single?
Not really.
But do you be honest with the lady you go up to, being like, hey, I'm on a Bucks party. How you going?
It was pretty fucking obvious I was on a Bucks party.
Was there a matching outfit? Was there a theme?
We were doing party shirts.
Yeah.
So, and I just looked like a fucking idiot anyway. But we went out on the Friday night. But that's the thing with the double night Bucks is that we wake up, 11 a.m. Saturday morning, and we're on the boat at 12. So we're out till 5 the night before. And then so we get on the boat, and it's all pretty rock and roll on paper, getting on a boat with these topless strippers who have huge fake tits. But then you're just sitting there so hungover. And like just the first beer's going down like nails, and all the rugby league blokes are hiding in the corner, and I'm talking to this poor girl, and I'm like, oh God, it's tough sledding, And I said at one point, this is my big line, I was like trying to think of something to say, and I'm so hungover, and she's just topless, and you just don't know what to say. And I said,
Nice tits.
I said, oh, geez, you better be careful in those heels on those stairs. They're pretty steep, hey? Careful you don't fall. And she said, I actually work on boats like this all the time, so it's fine. And I was like, oh, yeah, nah, for sure. Yeah.
Can't believe you were trying to strip-explain to her. Like she doesn't know heels on a fucking boat.
That was my big thing. I thought we'll get at least 12 minutes out of this.
Old OH&S Darcy.
Yeah. And I was struggling massively to entertain this poor woman because it was like the first hour where...
Wait, why were you trying to entertain her?
Because we're just... I don't know. No one else was fucking saying anything. And the thing was, like, everyone's just sober and there's just these two naked chicks around. No one's like partying yet. Like I feel like you should party for a bit before you pick up the chicks. Like everyone was just stale, not talking to them. So I felt rude. So I was making the effort. And then the next thing I said was, because we were going around the Docklands and there's all those shipping containers and they got those crazy cranes that pick up the shipping containers. I said, these cranes are fucking crazy. What's going on here? And then,
wow.
Again, I'm trying to get something going. At least, keep in mind, you might think what I'm saying is embarrassing, but no one else is saying anything.
Yeah, but sometimes that's better.
Well, she sat next to me and was like, hey, what's going on?
These cranes are pretty wild, huh?
Yeah. Well,
I'm surprised you didn't jump off the boat into the ocean.
Your mate's sitting in the corner, I'm like, man, I hope she's careful in those heels down those stairs.
Yeah. But then I said the cranes thing, and my mate's uncle, the Bucks uncle, who was just such a legend, classic uncle moment, he goes, fucking hell, Bill. You're sitting next to the best tits in South Melbourne and you're talking about fucking cranes. I was like, well, no one else is fucking talking about anything.
Yeah.
But then and then after that, but also, while we're on the Bucks party thing, and this was a rugby league Bucks, I think topless waitresses, I don't know if I need the third woman that gets on board. Have you been on these Bucks where you pick up the third woman who does like the strip show?
Okay.
And she's like the chick who's about it. You know?
Sure.
Like, I don't think...
They're serving drinks, the tits are out. That's about the end of the show. She's like, I'm putting stuff in me, you're holding it.
A little bit of that, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I think I don't need that. I think topless waitresses, as far as a Bucks, honestly, I think if I was planning my own Bucks and, I'm single, so I'm assuming if I'm getting married, I'll be at least 34. If all my mates are 34, I would honestly plan a rugby league Mad Monday where I would just Airbnb up the coast, 1 or 2 nights, not even that far up the coast, get a couple of topless waitresses in, and other than that, just pretty much getting fucked up with your mates. I don't need to be, going to paintball or any of this fucking shit, like...
This is why I thought...
I don't really need any activities. I just want to really just sit around a table just getting heaps fucked up with the lads.
This is why I thought you'd be good on a Bucks, because I feel like you would do the fucked up thing, but also if go-karting was on the menu, you'd enjoy yourself.
Yes, and here's the thing.
Whereas I can't hide my disgust for the activity.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So this is where you and me, two roads diverge in the wood. Because even though ethically I did kind of object to the whole dildo stripper thing, I did participate in the show when the host asked me to.
What was your role?
So what do you do for a job?
Yeah.
You guys a couple?
It was one of those things where you go, I don't want to sit in the front.
They made me sit here.
Yeah. But so I would say that you've hit the nail on the head in that I am a very enthusiastic Bucks party guest.
Yeah, which is invaluable in a group of mates because like pretty much all of my friends aren't that.
Yes.
So at a Bucks, like it's very like I guess like we got to be careful what activities are done. Like we got to kind of keep it a certain level of clean. Like because like the fucked up thing, lock us in. But the activities we hate.
You need the activity if you're bringing worlds together. If you've got like people from different backgrounds, whatever, like one group of mates from here, one group of mates from there, they've never met each other. You need a thing to like have a reason to chat. Otherwise, you just kind of stay diverged while everyone's sitting around getting fucked up.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, you guys are both married. So this Bucks I went on in Melbourne, this was quite a unique Bucks, I thought, in that there was like, I think there was 27 of us. And the invite list was like 42.
Fuck.
Like my mate, he's very popular. I would never be able to get this many blokes together. But like...
How big was the wedding?
It was a big wedding, like 150, 120 maybe.
Yeah, right.
But my Bucks, if I was to have a Bucks, I don't know. I think I would do like 20 blokes up the coast, Airbnb. And I would say no activities. I'm a big no activity guy, whether the chicks have got their top off or not. Like I don't want to fucking play Cards Against Humanity. I don't want to do King of Beers. When you're just hanging out and some cunt's like, let's play King of Beers, and it's like I actually have a personality, so I'll be fine.
But like,
I'm not into the organized fun.
Some people need it. I've been with like in those like kind of Bucks party situations where like people just don't mingle, and like I've been the guy and I hate this guy more than anything in the world. I'm like, let's play Jenga.
Yes.
Let's just get something where we all have to be around the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. And in that context, I agree with Tom that it is good because I went on a Bucks party where I didn't know a few of the other guys and we played that game Chandeliers.
What chandeliers?
There's like millions of cups in the middle and you've got to like hit the ball in the cup and then it goes round.
Okay.
But anyway, it doesn't matter because the game brought us together.
Yep.
So I do see what you're saying there, but I'm saying for my personal Bucks, there will be no activities.
And the other thing with game, I think there's no game bad enough that it doesn't help in that situation. I remember one time in London, I didn't know everyone there watching the AFL Grand Final at 5 a.m. Like it was that kind of thing. And we're drinking.
That's
and it's
fun.
like, how do you get a vibe going? And they were like, do you want to play the clap game? And I'm like, what's the clap game? And basically everyone just stands in a circle and you clap on your own. And the rest of the circle decides if it was a good clap or a bad clap. And if it's a bad clap, you have to drink. And it worked.
I like that.
Should we play it on the Patreon?
Jump across the Patreon, the clap game.
Is this the Patreon? How does it work? Are we on the Patreon
No,
now?
we're gonna jump to the Patreon because I had a cricket anecdote thing that I
Before
wanted.
we get into the Patreon, like, should I just start wheeling out the N-word? Like, are we getting crazy on the Patreon? Like, what's the vibe? Like, do we get more specific? Like, do we get less specific? Or is it just more of the same?
The one promise we made about the Patreon is it is unedited.
Yes.
So there's no, quality control / fuck, we probably shouldn't have said that. It's just out there in the ether.
Okay.
Because we trust the good people on the Flogtreon. The only flogs.
Flogtreon.
The only flogs, they get it, right?
Sorry, just quickly. What are the different flog tiers called? I imagine they're quite humorous.
They're all named after the Wahlbergs.
The Wahlbergs.
The Wahlberg
Correct.
siblings. So we have a thing about Wahlburger, and therefore the Wahlbergs.
That ball is signed by one of the Wahlbergs. The little ball on the thing there. Yeah.
So I also have a massive thing about Wahlburger. What's your thing?
What's your thing?
It's originated with Dan on his Just for Laughs debut.
Yes, I had a wall brewski alone at Wahlburgers before JFL because it's just down the road from the Opera House. And then somehow it's gone from there.
So this is my beef because I work at the Opera House.
Okay.
And
You work at the Opera House?
Well, I work in the car park at the Opera House. And I just think that...
Is the car park one of the rooms? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's the basement?
Massive capacity. Bad tech.
Yeah. But I walk past that Wahlburger all the time, and I just think it should be firebombed. I can't believe such a beautiful piece of Australian real estate is being taken up by Wahlburger. Right in Sydney Harbour. Like, we just don't give a fuck about Sydney Harbour. We got Wahlburger and fucking garbage on one side, and then cruise ships on the other. And then Circular Quay itself is an absolute bus station. I can't believe what's happening in the Circular Quay.
Like Circular Quay, they've got the Museum of Modern Art there as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's over the road.
That's almost it's almost out of the way. I agree.
Yeah.
And then like
Squire's Landing,
It's like they opened a Starbucks.
Squire's Landing.
which is the James Squire themed pub.
Right.
Which is terrible.
Yes.
I could see that.
Very expensive there.
Yep.
Is it? I swear there's like a Cold Rock or something near the Wahlburgers. Like there's just like a real like low grade ice
Yeah,
creamery. Like
there
not
is.
not a gelateria, like a fucking ice creamery. Like, do you
Yeah.
want topping? And that's at Circular Quay as well. But like, dude, Circular Quay is like just an inch above Darling Harbour. It's for scum and tourists.
Yeah.
That's it.
Darling Harbour
But
is
Opera
way
Bar
worse.
is sick. I'll stand by Opera Bar. You come to Sydney, you go to Opera Bar. It's basic as shit, but you'll have a good time.
Yeah,
with
Opera
that.
Bar's nice.
It's an incredible vista, and you get to watch tourists have their sushi taken by seagulls, which is dope. I love that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Is Cafe Sydney there as well? They've got like some nice restaurants around.
Aria's there, isn't it?
Aria's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some bouge, but just not street level.
No.
You gotta find it.
Yeah, you got to
Which
go.
I like.
Yeah. I just hate American franchises taking up nice spots. Like they opened a Starbucks on Manly Beach. Again,
I know that Starbucks. I like that Starbucks.
I think it should be firebombed.
What would you get from a Starbucks?
I'll usually, if I'm going Starbucks, I want to go silly. I'm getting like a caramel iced frappuccino.
Sure, okay.
I'm going hard.
Frappuccinos are pretty good.
I couldn't even order it. Physically, I wouldn't be able to walk in. Love this nation too much.
So if any floggers are in Manly and you just see a bloke standing outside the Starbucks sighing.
When I see people eating at Wahlburger, I just think, what the fuck are you doing?
Hey, next time you finish your shift, let me know. I'll meet you. We'll get a little Warbrewski.
We'll get a Wahlbrewski. God.
Dude, they're pretty cheap, but it is mid-strength.
Really?
Yeah, I found that out way too late in the game.
It's mid-strength.
Mid-strength. I think it's 3.5. Yeah.
Dear
But yeah,
Lord.
all the tiers are named after the Wahlbergs. Our favorite one is a new addition, which is the Debbie Wahlberg tier, which is for the female floggers, and it is slightly cheaper than the male tier for the same benefits based on the gender pay gap.
Nice.
Equality in the cabin. We
Love
did it.
that.
Now, that was after we talked about strippers for fucking ages. Patreon. Yeah, I've got a story about Brett Lee that I think you might know from like my comedy back in the day, but I want to get into it because I've got like more and I don't want to put it out publicly.
Hit me.
All right. So, Billy, thanks for joining us. Where can people find you? Are you on the road at all for festivals? What's happening?
Wait, is this the start of the Patreon?
No, so we're going to finish
Oh,
this.
right.
And then we're going to start
I was like,
recording
this
again.
is the worst time for a plug ever.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, sorry, it's my first day.
yeah.
Fucking go.
Thank you for having me on the regular episode, and I look forward to the chaos that's about to ensue on the Patreon. I would urge everyone to become a Flog member in their own time. But oh yeah, so it's billy.darcy on Instagram, and I'm touring this year, brand new show.
Where are you going to be?
I'm going to be all over Australia, but at the moment, only my Melbourne Comedy Festival tickets are on sale. But my show's called Absolute Session, and you can get those tickets via my Instagram bio or on the website. And then I'll go to all the other capital cities as well. They'll be on sale in the next week or two.
Awesome. So just Instagram's the best place to find you. Billy.Darcy.
Billy.Darcy.
Bang. All right. Yeah, we don't have anything to tell him, Tom, right? We're good? Sweet. So the way that we end the episode, I say a thing, he says a thing, then you say bye and just give it a little bit of flavor. Just a little bit of something.
Okay.
You know? All right. Stay flogged up.
Check the dodgems.
Catch you later, lads.
He's a maverick.
All right. It's fine, I guess.